you for watching. And now, since we are here, now you're able to share your story.
Yes.
And tell me, has the other women given you that little bit of strength?
Actually, yes. So after hearing most of their stories, after interviewing so many different women and so many different organizations that help women and children, that it has given me that strength, and also it has given me something that I should do it. Like, it's about time, because I feel that now I'm at a stage where I feel I am stronger, safer, because I'm in Canada. So thank you, Canada, for giving me this safe place to be who I am for me and my son and my family. So yes, now I'm like, okay, let's do it. Let's bring it on.
Awesome. I love it. Well, I appreciate the fact you wanted me back so we could do this.
Yeah.
So thank you very much. Where do you want to start?
So I'll tell you a little about my story and the main the triggers which I didn't look into it when I was in that relationship, which I should have, but I think we all don't, because we always, at least I do, I want to see the good in people, and I think they can be better, but sometimes people cannot. They are who they are and you can't change them, and one should accept that. So if you have had that encounter with a person and you think they won't change, please don't waste your life.
I can say that I know that feeling as well, that you probably should look out for those red flags that are wrong, but sometimes feelings are feelings. So I'm glad that women all over, and I hope the few as well, are learning themselves to be able to be a bit better and protect themselves a little bit more.
And actually, also one of the reasons that I want to do this is because back in Pakistan there has been a raise in domestic violence in the past couple of months, and they've been the domestic violence is not just in the lower middle class or the middle class, it's everywhere, but it's just that no one is, like, the women are not strong enough to voice about it, and because I think they might feel shame or ashamed, or they don't want to lose the luxury, because the men. So I'll tell you my story. I got married in 2006. So my family is pretty well off when it comes to money, and so was my ex's. So there was no money problem.
So to verify, this was an arranged marriage?
It was
correct?
an arranged.
Yeah.
It was an arranged marriage. We got married, and I was like, okay. I told him before I got married that this is who I am, and are you sure you would want to marry me? Because I'm not like your other women that you or your family is used to. And for him it was like, no, that's perfect, right? That's what I want. So I thought, okay, people do like different things, and it's okay to. And I was like, he's a nice guy, why not? And I shouldn't judge him because of his mother, though his mother, even before we got married, was a character. My mom almost broke my mom broke my engagement.
Oh, wow.
Before we got married, because his mom spoke to my mom in a very rude fashion, and she's like, something like, lower your voice or something. My mom was like, excuse me, and she wasn't even like, she wasn't even saying anything. But anyways,
one of those situations.
So see, this was a red flag, which I did not see. I looked at it as I gave him as a benefit of doubt. I was like, no, my mom might be different, but he might be different. He wants to have a different life, and it's his chance. Why should I judge him because of what his mom did, right? Yeah. And so we got married. After we got married, my ex-mother-in-law fired the house staff. So there was no home staff, okay? And she wanted me to, I guess, do all the work or whatever, which was okay. I lived in Canada, so I'm not that, like, I can do housework. For me, it's not a problem. But it's just the reason why she fired them. It's not because she didn't have money or, you know, it wasn't all that. It was to make me
Take that place.
Yeah, she wanted to show me where I stand. And I still didn't clue in. Okay? And I called my mom, and my mom sent her house stuff and food and stuff like this. And you know, now before I was doing this, I kind of looked back. You know, you think the things that happen, and you forget. But when you're trying to remember,
when you reflect on all of it, yes,
you remember what were those things that made you take that step, right? No one wants to break their house. No one wants a divorce. No one wants to.
Why did you keep fighting? Why did you
Yeah.
keep going?
So, you know, I remember she got like a ledger, like a book. And she's like, every time you spend money for groceries, you're going to write.
So track everything you do.
Yes. So and then she would ask, why did you buy the chicken for 300? Whatever, as much as it cost, right, over there. Or there was this one time, I still remember, that was in Dubai actually, not in Pakistan. So I lived in both places, in Dubai
When you were married,
yeah.
you were in Dubai
and Pakistan.
and Pakistan. Okay.
So this was in Dubai. So I had I needed sanitary napkins, so I had to go get them.
Yeah.
And so I put because I was buying other home stuff, so I didn't bring them on a separate receipt. It was all together. Like it didn't. Like I didn't.
It's a
think-
household
Yes.
need for you. Makes sense.
So I still remember she looked at it and she's like, "Why do you need that?" And I'm like, at that time I just looked at her and I'm like,
I don't know how you would react to that. Is there a proper answer to that one?
no.
Outside
And
of,
you know,
like-
I never told those things to my ex because I was like, that's his mom, right? I'm not like, I don't want to be that nagging wife who
Yeah.
keeps on.
And you don't want to keep them in that same bubble per se.
Yes.
You want to give each individual
Yes.
their own individuality and how they would treat
And
and
I was
react.
like, okay, I'll just ignore that. After that, we went on our honeymoon. She did not even leave me on my honeymoon.
Oh, she accompanied you both.
No. She didn't accompany me. She made me and my ex fight
Oh,
by creating, I don't know, she created a scenario which was totally wrong. And she, when I confronted her and then I called up my mom, I was like, is this what? And my mom was like, no. I was like, okay, then I'm going to call the person who told you this to my ex mother-in-law. So she got scared. Because I'm a person who would tell you as is. Like if you did something, I'd be like, did you do this? Or if I did something wrong, I'd say, okay, I'm sorry I did this, or I don't know how to do this. You know, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
Okay?
human.
Yeah. But she wanted us to fight all the time. You know, so she created so we fought on our honeymoon. My ex didn't talk to me for, I don't know, a few days. Imagine on your honeymoon. Number one, we went 6 months late and I wanted to go to a different place, but because his sister went to Australia, so I also had to go to Australia.
Okay.
And his mother made sure that what his sister did, I had to do, which was like, no, I mean, we both are different individuals, right? His sister is his sister, I'm his wife, and I'm different than who she is.
Yeah, definitely. Makes sense to me.
So that was one of the red flags that she made us fight on our honeymoon. Then, on our first wedding anniversary, I went 12 o'clock. So I was in Pakistan and my ex was in Dubai. She didn't let me go to him.
You weren't allowed to travel?
I wasn't allowed to go to him.
Okay. Was there a reason
Oh,
behind
no,
that? She just said no.
No, she made up some weird excuse because of me, her other son is going out with some other girl, and I'm like, I don't even know the girl. That's his life. Why you're putting me in the middle? But that was her.
That was her. She just created that animosity
Yeah,
no matter
and
where
I
she
was
went.
like, tomorrow is our first wedding anniversary, and my ex, I still remember, he called his mom and he's like, okay, And she's like, fine, I let her go. So I took a plane because Dubai, and just to let you know, Dubai and Pakistan, the flight is about an hour, hour and a half, so it's not that long.
Oh,
Yeah.
good to know.
Yes.
I like that.
So I still remember I got there at midnight. So, I mean, these should have been red flags, but I just ignored because I was like, no, you know, all relationships have bumps and, you know, this is one of them. And also one more thing which was very alarming was when we got married, my ex came up to me and my mom and he said like, why do mothers get so possessive? And we didn't think it like that, right? Like,
Hey, it's your wedding day, you met a new person, it's an ex, they could be saying things. We always come up with excuses as to why people
and,
do
you know,
certain things.
You kind of move forward and you're like, okay, I'll give him another chance. But once I got pregnant,
Is that when it all went even worse? Because in all honesty, leading up to you've had definitely a few instances where you
these
kind
are
of do
just
that
a
thought.
few, because I can go on, and I don't think we have that much. Like, I don't think people will be too much interested in that. But those were just the main things.
Just a couple of instances where you can shrug those off sometimes, right?
Yes.
But then we get down to the nitty gritty, which is when you do get pregnant.
And when I got pregnant, that's when I saw the real face of my ex.
How long were you guys married for before you got pregnant?
A year and a half.
Okay.
So there were a lot of problems. My mother-in-law would always keep us separated. Like if I'm in Dubai, she would send him to Pakistan. If I'm in Pakistan, she would send him to Dubai. So that, and her reason for that is the more further apart you stay, the more fall in love you will be. And I'm like, we need that time to kind of understand each other.
Yeah, you need time to connect and
To kind of learn about one another rather than, you know,
Because how long did you know your husband prior to the arranged marriage?
a year, and I was in Canada.
Yeah. So in reality, you still haven't had that chance to date,
and it's
get to
not
know,
like we lived
and-
together before our wedding
Yeah.
or something like this. No,
All right. So you got pregnant after a year and a half.
I got pregnant and I had a really bad pregnancy. I think it was because now I think, and I read about it, usually women who have bad pregnancies is because they are going through a lot of stress in their relationship or lives, which kind of, you know, relates on your health and on your pregnancy, and you have hormones and everything is imbalanced. Right?
However the mom feels is how a baby's going to feel and how your body would react. Definitely.
So what happened was that when I got pregnant, his brother was getting married, his younger brother, and he was getting married in Pakistan. So I flew from Dubai to Pakistan. My ex came to his brother's wedding a day before or 2 days before. I flew in before, and I had this really bad during my pregnancy. I used to spit a lot. I don't know why, but I used to spit, so I needed a bottle or flask or something to spit, right? I can't just be like spitting.
Yeah, that's being respectful.
Yeah, so you know, I still remember, and I couldn't any smell or any food or like greasy stuff would make me throw up so badly that it would create like it was just bad. Okay, so I still remember she, you know, the things she would do, like she was like, you have to do this, you have to I still remember there was someone's wedding and I'm like, I can't go because I can't just take the smell of, like, I just can't go. You know, I need to be home, and I don't feel like, you know, spitting at a wedding in a flask, you know, and I don't feel like wearing those clothes or anything. She's like, you're not the only one who ever became pregnant. All women get pregnant. And I'm like, oh, okay, but I'm not feeling well. Anyways, she still dragged me. I still went. And I sat in the corner and I was like spitting, and I had people coming and asking me, and I felt so awkward, right?
Yeah.
And I was so much younger, right? Now if things like this would happen, I would be more equipped to deal with it. At that time I was 21, 22.
Yeah. And so you were, you know, you did your duty of going to a wedding and trying to survive through it while you feel horrible.
Yeah, and then she made me stand during one of the wedding events for like 2 hours or 3 hours.
How far along were you by this point? Was it still within your first trimester?
Yeah, it was still in my first trimester. So it's like,
so that's when you get the worst nausea and
Yes.
feelings in most cases.
and it's your first time. You're young, you don't know what to do, and you're scared about the baby. You don't want anything to happen, and you know all this. You know, you have all these things happening in the background. And my husband didn't say a word. So I told him all this while when I got pregnant. I told him, like, you know, I can't, and he didn't say anything. Instead, he was worst. I still remember while I was pregnant, he made me go down like a flight of stairs, which were about 20 stairs, and he made me carry a tray full of food. And when I refused to, he's like, "You're my wife, you have to. You have no other choice."
I personally cannot react to that one because I have my different views on things, but...
And there was a dinner at their house. I didn't want it to make a fuss. Anyways, I got him his food. I don't know how he ate that, but he got his food. And after that, so this was one instance. Then a few months later, I was, I think, in my second trimester, and I was in Dubai at that point.
Okay.
Someone was getting married again in his family. Oh my God. And I didn't want to travel in the plane because I was bedridden and it was like I didn't feel too good, right? So I told him, I was like, I can't go. He's like, well, you have to because my mother said you have to. I'm like, well, you know, the doctor said that I should take care and, you know, it's your baby too. Like, come on. And I was like, come on, you came late to your own brother's wedding. This is your cousin. Like, you know, it's not like if I don't go, that's not like, you know, she'll miss it or something. So he's like, no, I don't care. You have to go. And I was like, okay. So at that time I got angry because it was about my kid. And I'm like, I'm not going. So he threw a cup like on the wall, and that just scared me, right?
Yes.
Because I'm like, I don't know what else he can do.
Yeah.
And he knows I'm pregnant, right?
And
So
seeing that outburst,
I was like, just for me to go to someone's wedding whom he hardly even knows, and just because his mother said I'm supposed to do that. No, I'm a mother too, right? I'm having a baby too. So I packed up my bags and I went to my mom's house. We have a house in Dubai to my parents at that time, and I went to her house. I stayed there for a week. He did not call me. He did not ask me how I'm doing, how his child is doing. He didn't even, how can I say? He didn't even ask me if you need any money, if you need any food. Like, he didn't care. Honestly, he didn't even care where I was.
it goes back to where was his husband's side of your relationship.
And I mean, of course, I had my own money. I mean, both my parents were pretty well off, so I didn't need his money. So, you know, I was pretty good on my own. I could feed myself and I had my own house and everything. But, you know, it just shows what kind of a person he was.
Yeah. If he's not that caring towards you.
While
then
I was pregnant. Okay? That
yeah.
shows that if he can be so mean when he knows I'm carrying his child, imagine if I was not. What would he have done? That's my question. And that's what women should question themselves. If someone is not nice to you at your lowest,
And when you need that support.
imagine what would they do when you're just just regularly. How abusive they could be. So this is emotional abuse, by the way, ladies. Some people take it like, okay, you know, you don't clue in that this is emotional, because emotional abuses we don't register.
That's the one that kind of creeps up on you, right? There's
Yes.
there's a couple of things that happen. You make excuses, another
Yes.
thing happens, or one off.
It's okay. Yeah, and your mind doesn't register it that way. You kind of say, he'll be okay, he'll be fine.
You shrug it
Maybe
off.
I should tell him this is the problem, and then he'll understand. They don't understand. They will never understand. Let me tell you that. So, my mother was coming from London or something because it was my birthday. So I didn't want her to make a big fuss, so I called him. Like, you know, because then if my mom and my dad and my brothers would find out that, you know, this is going on, I didn't want it to create, you know, negativity.
Oh, you're still trying to fix
I'm
things and
still
making sure
trying
it was
to,
all okay.
you know, stand in, or, you know, still kind of hold the fort. So I called him and I said, I want to come back to your house. He's like, okay, I'll send you the chauffeur. I was like, okay, you're not going to come and pick me up? And he's like, no, I have work. You come by yourself. I said, okay, fine, whatever. I came home. So it's a day before my birthday. I came home and I'm sitting in his TV lounge and he comes back from work. He sits like, how you're sitting right next to me. And he's like, so, your senses came back? Of course, you had to come back. Where else would you go? I mean, considering that you're pregnant. And that I can never forget the way he said that. I still remember we were sitting in his living room. They had this ugly orange sofa, which they thought was very pricey and beautiful. It was not. And we were sitting and, yes, they had a very big house in Emirates Hills, which is one of the most prestigious areas in Dubai. But believe me, the people in that house were shit. Sorry for my language. No, I'm serious. And I still remember the way he said it to me. He's sitting on that sofa and he's holding this cup of green tea. And I just looked at him and I'm like, what? You don't ask me how your child is, how you feeling, I don't have any words to say. Like, how could he do that? Like,
You're married, you're building a life together, you have a child coming soon.
And that's what he thinks of.
Yeah, I would say that's a really big red flag at that point.
I still didn't do anything. But because of all that stress, I had an internal bleeding.
Oh.
And I was rushed to the hospital in Dubai. I stayed there for about a week. Thank God my son is okay. He was fine. My mom flew back because she left for Pakistan. So she flew back to Dubai because she's like...
Well, that's terrifying.
Yeah. And then my mom's like, okay, you know what? I'll take her back to Pakistan with me. We have houses in Pakistan and Dubai. So she's like, why don't you come back with me? I'll take care of you. And my ex was like, yeah, cool. So anyways, I go back to Pakistan. Now listen to the twist.
And how far along are you by this point?
I'm in the second trimester.
Okay.
So internal bleeding is not good.
No. Well, internal bleeding at
any point
and
in your
no matter what, that would scare any mother, no matter what.
I was so scared for my son. And that, I don't know what to call him, but that thing, my ex, was still not bothered about his kid.
So he still was not checking up on you.
Nothing,
He still
nothing.
couldn't ask just for one time, be like, hi wife, how are you?
How's the baby doing?
Yeah, none of it.
No, nothing. And so is his family, like his mother and his dad.
Oh, even the mother-in-law never even asked.
No, the mother said it. You're not the first woman to ever get pregnant. So
Right.
don't expect me to
Be there for you.
or I don't know, whatever she meant.
Yeah.
And she was always there in the background to create problems or to brainwash him or whatever, but I blame him too because he has a head, right? You have your own mind.
Mhm.
And when it comes to your own child, I think you can think for yourself,
Would hope.
but that guy didn't.
And so, yeah, you went back to Pakistan with your mom.
Yes, and then, so my parents had gone for Hajj. It's a pilgrimage we do, Muslims. It's a very big pilgrimage, and people celebrate. And once you're done with it, then people come and give you gifts, and it's like a celebration.
Okay.
So my parents had gone for Hajj before I came to Pakistan. So I was there, and his brother's mother-in-law came to say, give a gift or something to my mom for congratulating her.
Oh.
So she called up, she's standing outside our house, and she calls up, and our guard outside intercoms us inside and says, madam, there's, so-and-so's in-laws are here, what do you want us to do? So my mom's like, oh, no, please have them come in, because...
It's family.
Yeah. And we, we had the afternoon tea and whatever. They gave whatever they wanted to congratulate my mom. They bought some sweets and some gifts and stuff like that.
Overall, it sounds like a very nice gesture.
Yeah. So
which is quite the difference from what you're used to.
So my ex's mother, I called her after they left and I said, your younger sons-in-laws came to our house, and she said, oh, really? And she kept the phone down. That's what she says, right? I'm like, okay. Next thing I know, my ex calls me and he starts abusing me. And he's like, how dare did you have them come in? And I'm like, excuse me, it's my mom's house. She can have whomever she wants come in. Mm-hmm. He's like, no, she's supposed to. My mother says that your mother is supposed to take permission from her to have people come in.
But it was his family though, because
Yeah.
you said it was his
Yeah,
mother's.
no. Still, my mother has to take permission because this is the reason.
Okay.
Because my ex's mother takes permission from her daughters-in-laws or something. My mom's like, you do whatever you do, right? This is my house. I can have whomever I want. And if someone is standing outside and they're a guest or whomever it is, I'm not going to close my door. It's not polite. I don't care who it is.
It sounds like, as far as yourself and your mom and how your mom raised you, independent women, you can think for yourselves. And I do know there's a lot of cultural aspects within certain situations that you do have.
No, but it's so funny for them. It's okay. Like for my mother-in-law, for me, rules will be different, but for her daughter, the rules will be different.
I can't even begin to understand all of
And
it.
just to give you an idea, ladies, it was their way of controlling me. And we as women don't realize that, in a relationship, if a partner tries to control you or change you or takes that freedom of who you are when it comes to you, how you dress up, little things, step back from that relationship.
You're still
Who you
an
meet.
individual.
I was not allowed to meet my school friends. They weren't good enough for them. For my ex-family. For his mother and him.
Wow. So let's go back to, now
Yeah,
you're
so,
still with your mom in Pakistan.
Yeah, and
they got told they're not allowed to have visitors in their own home.
And that's it, okay?
Okay.
He keeps the phone down. A month goes by, again, the silent treatment to teach me a lesson. It's all about teaching a lesson. So he wanted to again teach me a lesson because he anyways told me, what am I going to do, right? I'm pregnant, right? What am I going to do? Where am I going to go? Who's going to accept me? What will happen? And
this is where even more emotional abuse comes in. And
yes. So 1 month, imagine, not him, not his mother, not his sister, no one calls me, asks me how I'm doing. Do I need anything? Yes, I'm with my parents, but it's your child too, right?
Well, you are joining two families, so usually you're supposed to be there.
So,
don't get me wrong, all of us have had issues with, I'm sure, the other side of the family,
yeah,
but still,
okay,
but it's still different.
I never wanted to be his mother's daughter because I know I could never be her daughter, right? And that's fine. I'm not saying, okay, and women, please don't expect your mother-in-laws to make you their daughters because you can never be. You'll always be their son's wife.
Mm-hmm.
But at least you can have a civil relationship, right?
Yes.
You don't have to be so mean. I mean, you can't just you can't, it's always they're trying to show your place and control you somehow and teach you. And with everything, it's like, we want to teach you manners. We want to teach you where you stand. No, I'm born free. You don't do that. I don't care who you are.
Agreed.
So anyways, I became really sick. I had very low hemoglobin, so the doctors in Pakistan started putting IVs to me, and it was so painful. I've never been in so much pain. And my gynecologist is like, with all the stress, it's not helping. And with the environment, it's going to make it worse for your daughter. It might result in losing your daughter while giving birth because of shock, because the body goes into shock. So if you have the money and the means, you should take her out. My mom is like, that's it, we are going to Canada, we're going to give birth there. I came to Canada, he created a lot of fuss, he abused, his parents. They tried to threaten my
Threaten in what ways, if you don't mind me asking?
life threaten. My name was on exit control list. They threatened me that if I would ever come back or something, they would take my kid, they would kill me or whatever. Anyways, my son was born now.
And the joy you felt, because let's have a happy moment when he finally came into this world.
Oh my God, it was, when I held him, I was like, it was worth it. When I took him in my arms and I looked at him and I was like, oh my God, I did this on my own. You know, usually you have a partner to do it. I did it on my own. I'm very proud of it.
Hell yeah, you should be.
And
I mean, I do have to say, I'm very glad your mother was also still there for you.
But, you know, certain battles you have to fight on your own. And that's what I want to tell women. Yes, you have the support of your family, but you also have to kind of move yourself and make that decision, right? That someone is abusing. But if you sit there and take it and allow it to happen, like, I'm mad at myself. Why did I even allow it to drag for so long? I should have known when, you know, his mother was creating problems, or he was not standing up for me, or he didn't care. Why did it take so long to clue in?
And just think, there's still women out there that are on years of going through this.
And my purpose is for that to, and not only that actually. So I gave him multiple chances after my son was born, because, you know,
it's a father.
And
you're still trying.
Yes, I was like, no, I want my son to be, I don't want my son to have anything negative growing up, right? So I gave him a chance when he was about a year and a half. So I went back to Dubai with my ex.
Oh.
Yes.
And what made you decide that? Was it just strictly you did want to see if it would work, or maybe you did want him to see his son?
And I wanted to see if it would work and if he would, maybe being with his son would make him realize.
Make him see the good out of it and maybe change a little bit.
It made me more different and stronger and more protective for my son. Like, you know, I don't care. First comes my son, then comes everything else.
I'm pretty sure most mothers have that same thought. Kids do come first.
I gave him another chance. I went back to Dubai. His mother hated me as usual, with passion. To the extent that they had me almost killed. And I had to run away again from Dubai.
And at this point, just you and your son went out there, like, and your mom was here in Canada.
Yeah. She was in Canada. She was in the US, and then she was there for a few days, and then she was going to London. So because we had business everywhere, and the person who was going to do it told me it was his cook or something, and he goes to me. He's like, "Madam, please promise me never go back to Pakistan." And I'm like, why? And he's like, this is his exact word: you can take a dog's tail and put it in a pipe, it will still not become straight. You understand? That was his words.
Wow.
So either you tell your parents, or you're smart enough, you're educated. And that was it, he said. He didn't say anything else.
Because he didn't want to give out, but he was saying and telling you in his way.
And at that time I thought to myself, and before that also, me and my ex were all the time arguing, because he stopped talking to me again for a week or two. He left me outside in Dubai in the heat, again trying to teach me manners, you know. But when the cook told me this, and I'm like, are you serious? And he's like, yeah. He's like, I don't want to say anything else. And I was like, okay, that's a sign. If that's not a sign, then what is?
Oh yeah, that's a pretty bold one. That's a bold sign.
And that's when I decided, no, that's it. I am not going to live with this guy And
Well, essentially, now it's your life and your son's life put on a line.
I left, I ran away from Dubai. I didn't take anything. I left everything at his house. Everything, even the clothes of my son. I just took my son's baby bag and I ran. I went to the mall. I went to Mall of Emirates. I got myself dropped there, and whoever knows me, they know that I love doing my hair and changing my hair. So I got an appointment at a hair salon, and I took my son and I told the chauffeur and everyone, I was like, go home, you know, it's Ramadan, you guys need to rest. I mean, it will take me a few hours. So the moment they left from the other side, I took a cab and I went to the airport.
Good for you.
I got a ticket and I left. I went to London.
That's amazing. Good job. I'm glad that you were able to, one, make that story, so you were able to run, you protected yourself, and you took that plunge. You knew what was best.
And I went to Oxford. I got my life together thanks to the support of my mom and my brothers and stuff like that. But the reason I'm doing this is because till now he's teaching me a lesson. And how he's teaching.
Because, yeah, why would he want to get to know his son?
And how can I say, for my ex, money is God. His money, oh my God, he'll do anything to protect it. Him and his mother. Even the jewelry which my parents gave me, my mother gave me, is with them.
Just all of it.
You
walked away
with
from
nothing,
life.
just my freedom.
But now looking back,
oh, that's more than enough. But I understand. And honestly, I also protected my son from him is because of what me and my brothers went through. Because what my dad did with us.
so you're telling me that there's even more of a side story for this? Do we have time for a quick little one?
A quick recap, because I want people to know, and I want, these mothers of these men should also be punished. Because they create these monsters. Mm-hmm. My mother once told me that when I was a baby, my grandmother, my dad's mother, hid milk cartons under her bed so that she couldn't give me milk. And my dad didn't say a word.
So your grandmother hid food from you.
Yeah, so that my mother wouldn't feed me.
So this just perpetuates that type of attitude within the
reason,
generations.
Yeah, the reason why I'm saying that, these men, like my dad, learned this behavior from his mom. Right? Mm-hmm. So what happened with my dad was, when my brothers, when my elder brother, well, he's younger than me, when he graduated and he was coming, he was going to come in and start running the family business. My dad wanted to teach him a lesson.
All about these lessons.
And how did he do that? By leaving us, by taking away all our money. And for what reason? Because he used to abuse my mom, right? And when we came, he saw that he couldn't do that, right? He couldn't do what he was doing for the last 30 years with my mother.
So his only way to do it was take away money.
Yes. And to take away every little penny, to the extent that we didn't even have money for milk and bread.
And how did you discover that all of a sudden everything was wiped away?
He went back to Pakistan because he needed to transfer some funds, because we were opening a trampoline park. My brother was opening a trampoline park, indoor trampoline park in Toronto. We already had business partners. We had already gone to New York. We talked to the franchisee. So, we didn't have any idea. But he did that because at a time when we needed, when we needed the finances the most. Right?
Because you're starting up the business, everything's arranged, you're ready to go.
And my brother always thought, my older brother Essen, he always thought that he will always do the family business. So he studied accordingly. If he, I know, I've told my son, you don't have anything. So he has to, he has to make himself self-sufficient on his own. He can't depend on that his father is very rich or something. No, because I told him, he's not going to give you a penny. Look at what my dad did.
Yeah, and honestly, you don't want to have that dependency anyway.
No, and it's blood money. Honestly, God knows how many people they've hurted. So, what's called, my dad, he took away everything. every little thing.
So you're going to the grocery store and you're like,
Oh,
all
yeah,
right,
yeah.
here's my groceries for the week.
The exact same thing happened. Nothing worked. And we're like, huh?
So you actually literally found out that you were broke
That's
when
how
you're
I-
trying to
And
feed.
when we called our dad, we're like, and we didn't still know, right? That our dad is taking everything and is sitting in Pakistan, okay?
So you didn't even know he was traveling to Pakistan?
No, we knew because he was going to transfer some
okay.
funds from there, but
Right.
we didn't know he was going to do this.
Right. Well, no one really expects that, I would think.
No.
Right?
I mean, yeah, our parents had differences, but if they stuck it out for 30 years, why would he do it now? He's a granddad, and he hated my son, honestly. If, my son had to go to daycare or to Montessori, he would always be like, oh, am I his driver that I have to drive him around? Why does he have to sleep with me, like with him and my mom? He's a hindrance. Anyways, that was him. But coming back to our finances, he took away everything. He took away every little penny. And then he goes like, choose between money and your mother.
So to you and your brothers, your father said, what do you want? Money or your mother?
You choose.
And of course you chose.
I mean, we are humans. We are not like him and my ex who have no heart. So, and our mother is a mother who actually took care of us and gave us love, not like their mothers who have taught them to step on other people.
Yeah, and the disrespect and all of that.
And
yeah.
So my father said, fine, then learn your lesson. You'll come back to me crying and begging. And me and my brothers, especially my brothers, they have been struggling. We are fine now. We are, alhamdulillah, we are very fine now. But yeah, we did struggle for good 5 to 7 years. It was their time to find a wife, to get married, to have
because
their
you were
own
saying
children.
this all happened when your brother was recently graduated, starting a business, so all the life in front of him.
Yeah, so it made him like suddenly he had to, like, he couldn't have his own life.
Yeah.
And my dad, on the other hand, this is what he did. He bought a woman for $100,000.
Oh, he bought a woman for
He
him.
bought a woman. Of course, no one else would marry him. And he,
Sorry, I had to kind of giggle at that one.
these men are not men. Honestly, they're not real men. Whether it's my ex or my father. Because any man who treats women like this, in my books, they're not men.
Agreed.
They're, I don't know what, transgenders, whatever you might want to call them. Even transgenders are better than them. So, my father had a daughter
Oh,
at the age of 70.
wow.
And my brothers here, I mean, not that they care, but when you look at this guy, he took away all the happiness from his kids at a time when they really needed it. It's like, when a baby's small or born, you take away milk and diaper and you tell him, figure it out on your own. That's what my dad did with us. And the reason why I'm telling this to all the women, please don't make your children dependent on wealth of your husbands or your family wealth. Make them self-sufficient on their own. Give them a career. Give them something they can lean on other than their family money. Because in Pakistan, there's a lot like this.
Yeah, all the money's everywhere, but there's no actual love anywhere.
No,
or
and
support system.
people will, how can I say, live in relationships just because of that. And one more thing, you will get a lot of people from Pakistan in Canada, women especially, like my mother. And we still, in Canada, you can get alimony, the father is supposed to pay for the
child support. Yeah.
But we can't do that in Pakistan.
And in all honesty, when it comes down to it, even if you had the chance, would you even want any of that?
Just to teach him manners. I would take his money and throw it in the river, but I would take it.
Just light a bag of money on fire and be like, there you go.
On Instagram. just to teach them that
money isn't everything. I mean, don't get me wrong. Money makes life very easier,
but there's also humanity, right?
Yes.
But these men, they're like, I don't know what animal eats their own child. I forgot. They're those kind of scorpions, or I don't know what they are.
Yeah, I wouldn't know in all honesty.
Honestly,
either.
I don't know. So
But either way, those...
And their mothers. You know,
like, how do you keep creating that type of generational hate and just that type of life? But I'm glad that you are here where you are and you were able to move on from that. I can only imagine what the challenges were and how to be in your head at that time.
I will tell women, please, if you do, there's no harm. You don't become less if you take child support or alimony from your spouse. No, especially in Pakistan, there's this, you know, fake, how can I say, fake pride. You know, no, there's nothing. They need to. You both made that child, right?
No, there should be a proper support system.
And it's good for the child. There's so many things. Yes, I give my child the best. I don't need his money. But it would be nice.
It would be. But like you said, even money aside, it's just great that you were able to get out of that environment and you can create a more positive life for your son. There's a more positive life for you now. And
one more thing I would like to say, I'm sorry I'm taking so much time, is those men they feed on other people. So the people in that society, the elite society or whomever, they still need them because of money, power, whatever. If the society of Pakistan says this is wrong, you're not supposed to do that, or we are not going to meet this my dad or my ex because they did this with their wives and their kids, then there wouldn't be a reputation. But no.
Yeah, all of that's not out there, or it's not shown in public.
People are,
or they're just
cruel.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm very glad I'm in Canada. And Canada has given me space to grow and has given me the freedom and the strength to talk about this now. You know, first I used to be scared. I used to be like, not scared. Scared is not the right word. I used to feel like, I don't want to share this. What would people think of me? I never bothered about what people thought.
Good.
I don't know how it's going to reflect, but now I'm like, you know what, screw it. Even if one person listens and gets something out of it, good for it. Yep. So that's all. If you guys want more details, let me know. I would love to tell you, but no, that's more than
I'm sure
enough.
we could go on for a good few hours about this.
I can tell you, but no.
But overall, I think it's great that you are sharing your side of the story. I mean, don't get me wrong. All of us have had situations. I know I've had my share. One day I would love to be able to say my own piece as well. But just
I would
know
love to
that
have you, but I don't know when you will share it, but one day.
We'll see, one day. But I think it's great being able to still, I even said that in the very beginning, just giving women a platform to be able to say, because we've seen the similar platforms that other people have done, and there's a lot of support that's out there. It's just we need to always ensure that we're keeping that in front, face, and center to know
and
that...
to be more vocal about it.
Exactly.
Because the first way to overcome fear or to overcome those obstacles is to talk about it.
Yeah, and never know that you're alone. Although every situation is individual because it is different people. Everybody, I can tell you, out of the women that I know in my life, there's not a single one I know that has not faced any sort of negativity, whether it was their environment, family, friends. There's always been, every person has had something.
What makes
which is very sad to know. But
sad is their mothers. How can they,
how can they think that's okay?
Yeah.
Because you as a mother now,
that's what I don't understand. Like, how did my grandmother, my mom's mother-in-law, my dad's mother, could do that? And that's just one part. If you hear my mother's story, you will have you'll have goosebumps. The things she's been through, and she still lived 30 years for keeping her family together. And why?
Yeah. At least now you're changing that.
Yes.
You're changing that structure.
I hope so. And, well, I wish all the women lots of strength, and please stand up for what is wrong.
Know your worth as a woman.
Yes. You're worth it, like L'Oreal says.
Yeah, that's what they say, right? Hey, there's a reason they came up with that saying.
Thank you, Christina.
Thank you. This was great. I appreciate you being able to do this.
For doing this.
You're an awesome woman.
And you are an amazing friend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Because, yeah, why would he want to get to know his son?
And how can I say, for my ex, money is God. His money, oh my God, he'll do anything to protect it. Him and his mother. Even the jewelry which my parents gave me, my mother gave me, is with them.
Just all of it.
You
walked away
with
from
nothing,
life.
just my freedom.
But now looking back,
oh, that's more than enough. But I understand, and honestly, I also protected my son from him is because of what me and my brothers went through, because what my dad did with us.
So you're telling me that there's even more of a side story for this? Do we have time for a quick little one?
A quick recap, because I want people to know, and I want, these mothers of these men should also be punished, because they create these monsters. Mm-hmm. My mother once told me that when I was a baby, my grandmother, my dad's mother, hid milk cartons under her bed so that she couldn't give me milk. And my dad didn't say a word.
So your grandmother hid food from you?
Yeah, so that my mother wouldn't feed me.
So this just perpetuates that type of attitude within the generations.
Yeah, the reason why I'm saying that, these men, like my dad, learned this behavior from his mom, right? Mm-hmm. So what happened with my dad was, when my brothers, when my elder brother, well, he's younger than me, when he graduated and he was coming, he was going to come in and start running the family business. My dad wanted to teach him a lesson.
All about these lessons.
And how did he do that? By leaving us, by taking away all our money. And for what reason? Because he used to abuse my mom, right? And when we came, he saw that he couldn't do that, right? He couldn't do what he was doing for the last 30 years with my mother.
So his only way to do it was take away money.
Yes. And to take away every little penny, to the extent that we didn't even have money for milk and bread.
And how did you discover that all of a sudden everything was wiped away?
He went back to Pakistan because he needed to transfer some funds, because we were opening a trampoline park. My brother was opening a trampoline park, indoor trampoline park in Toronto. We already had business partners. We had already gone to New York. We talked to the franchisee. So, we didn't have any idea. But he did that because at a time when we needed, when we needed the finances the most. Right?
Because you're starting up the business, everything's arranged, you're ready to go.
And my brother always thought, my older brother Essen, he always thought that he will always do the family business. So he studied accordingly. If he, I know, I've told my son, you don't have anything. So he has to, he has to make himself self-sufficient on his own. He can't depend on that his father is very rich or something. No, because I told him, he's not going to give you a penny. Look at what my dad did.
Yeah, and honestly, you don't want to have that dependency anyway.
No, and it's blood money. Honestly, God knows how many people they've hurted. So, my dad, he took away everything. Every little thing.
So you're going to the grocery store and you're like, all right, here's my groceries for the week.
The exact same thing happened. Nothing worked. And we're like, huh?
So you actually literally found out that you were broke when you're trying to feed.
And when we called our dad, we're like, and we didn't still know, right? That our dad is taking everything and is sitting in Pakistan, okay?
So you didn't even know he was traveling to Pakistan?
No, we knew because he was going to transfer some funds from there. But we didn't know he was going to do this.
Right. Well, no one really expects that, I would think.
No.
Right?
I mean, yeah, our parents had differences, but if they stuck it out for 30 years, why would he do it now? He's a granddad, and he hated my son, honestly. If, my son had to go to daycare or to Montessori, he would always be like, oh, am I his driver that I have to drive him around? Why does he have to sleep with me, with him and my mom? He's a hindrance. Anyways, that was him. But coming back to our finances, he took away everything. He took away every little penny. And then he goes choose between money and your mother.
So to you and your brothers, your father said, what do you want? Money or your mother?
You chose.
And of course you chose.
I mean, we are
Yeah.
humans. We are not like him and my ex who have no heart. So, and
But-
our mother is a mother who actually took care of us and gave us love, not like their mothers who have taught them to step on other people.
Yeah, the disrespect and all of that.
And
yeah.
you know, so my father said, fine, then learn your lesson. You'll come back to me crying and begging. And you know, me and my brothers, especially my brothers, they have been struggling. We are fine now. We are, alhamdulillah, we are very fine now. We don't, but yeah, we did struggle for good 5 to 7 years. You know, it was their time to find a wife, to get married, to
Yeah,
have
because
their
you were
own
saying
children.
this all happened when your brother was recently graduated,
so-
starting a business, so all the life in front of him.
Yeah, so you know, it made him like suddenly he had to, like, he couldn't have his own life.
Yeah.
And my dad, on the other hand, this is what he did. He bought a woman for $100,000.
Oh, he bought a woman for
He bought a woman. Of course, no one else would marry him. And he,
Sorry, I had to kind of giggle at that one.
these men are not men. Honestly, they're not real men. Whether it's my ex or my father. Because any man who treats women like this, in my books, they're not men.
Great.
They're, I don't know what, transgenders, whatever you might want to call them. Even transgenders are better than them. So, my father had a daughter
Oh,
at the age of 70.
wow.
And my brothers here, I mean, not that they care, but you know, when you look at this guy, he took away all the happiness from his kids at a time when they really needed it. It's like, you know, when a baby's small or born, you take away milk and diaper and you tell him, figure it out on your own. That's what my dad did with us. And the reason why I'm telling this to all the women, please don't make your children dependent on wealth of your husbands or your family wealth. Make them self-sufficient on their own. Give them a career. Give them something they can lean on other than their family money. Because in Pakistan, there's a lot like this.
Yeah, all the money's everywhere, but there's no actual love anywhere.
No,
or
and
support
you know,
system.
people will, how can I say, live in relationships just because of that. And one more thing, you will get a lot of people from Pakistan in Canada, women especially, like my mother. And we still, you know, in Canada you can get alimony, the father is supposed to pay for the
child support. Yeah.
but we can't do that in Pakistan.
And in all honesty, when it comes down to it, even if you had the chance, would you even want any of that?
Just to teach him manners. I would take his money and throw it in the river, but I would take it
Just light a bag of money on fire and be like, there you go.
on Instagram. Just to, you know, just to teach them that
Money isn't everything. I
they
mean, don't
te-
get me wrong.
it
Money
is,
makes
it
life
is,
very
it is,
easier,
but there's also humanity, right?
yes.
But these,
Because, yeah, why would he want to get to know his son?
and how can I say, for my ex, money is God. His money, oh my God, he'll do anything to protect it. Him and his mother. Even the jewelry which my parents gave me, my mother gave me, is with them.
Just all of it.
Oh, yeah.
You walked away
With
from
nothing,
like,
just my freedom.
But now looking back,
Oh, that's more than enough. But
Okay.
I understand. And honestly, I also protected my son from him is because of what me and my brothers went through. Because what my dad did with us.
so you're telling me that there's even more of a side story for this? Do we have time for
Oh,
a
yes.
quick little
quick
one?
recap. Because I want people to know, and I want, you know, these mothers of these men should also be punished. Because they create these monsters. My mother once told me that when I was a baby, my grandmother, my dad's mother, hid milk cartons under her bed so that she couldn't give me milk. And my dad didn't say a word.
So your grandmother hid food from you.
Yeah, so that my mother wouldn't feed me.
So this just perpetuates that type of
And
attitude within the
reason,
generations.
Yeah, the reason why I'm saying that these men, like my dad, learned this behavior from his mom, right? So what happened with my dad was